A new and unexpected trade barrier has suddenly appeared, sending shockwaves through the intricate web of global commerce. This development is redrawing the global economic map, forcing businesses and governments alike to reconsider their strategies. Mexico, under the leadership of President Claudia Sheinbaum, has announced a dramatic and sweeping increase in tariffs, up to 50% on imports from countries that do not have a free trade agreement with Mexico. This bold move, set to take effect in January 2026, specifically targets major Asian economies such as India, China, Thailand, and Indonesia, which have long relied on Mexico as a gateway to North America. More than 1,400 products are now affected, ranging from automobiles and steel to textiles and electronics, shaking up established trade flows. The sudden tariff hike is disrupting supply chains, causing delays and uncertainty, and forcing companies to urgently rethink their North American strategies and sourcing decisions. For decades, Mexico has served as a vital hub for global trade, leveraging its extensive network of free trade deals, especially the USMCA, to attract investment and facilitate the flow of goods. Now, the government is shifting its focus toward protecting domestic industries, joining a growing global trend toward economic nationalism and self-sufficiency. The scale and speed of Mexico's tariff hike have caught international partners off guard, fundamentally altering the competitive landscape and raising questions about the future of global supply chains. Asian exporters who once relied on Mexico as a stable entry point to the Americas must now urgently reassess their business plans, logistics, and pricing models. The result is a period of volatility and strategic upheaval for companies from Mumbai to Shanghai, as they scramble to adapt to a rapidly changing trade environment and seek new pathways to global markets. The automotive sector in India, a key pillar of the country's manufacturing and export economy, is reeling from the shockwaves of Mexico's new tariffs. This sudden policy shift has sent ripples through the industry, catching many automakers off guard and forcing them to reassess their global strategies. Mexico is India's third-largest export market for passenger vehicles, and now, Indian car exports face a prohibitive 50% duty. This sharp increase in tariffs has made it nearly impossible for Indian automakers to remain competitive in the Mexican market, threatening their hard-won foothold. This move jeopardizes a billion-dollar trade relationship with global giants like Volkswagen, Skoda, Hyundai, Nissan, and Maruti Suzuki, having invested heavily in building supply chains and manufacturing hubs in India, specifically to serve Mexico and Latin America. Most Indian exports to Mexico are compact, fuel-efficient cars, vehicles that fill a unique niche and are quite distinct from the larger, more expensive models produced domestically in Mexico. These cars have been popular for their affordability and efficiency. Yet, the broad sweep of tariffs ignores these important differences, effectively pricing Indian cars out of the market and leaving dealerships with unsold inventory. The impact is immediate and severe. The pain doesn't stop at finished vehicles. Auto parts, engines, electronics, transmissions, and more are now also subject to steep tariffs, disrupting the entire ecosystem of suppliers and small businesses that depend on exports. The entire supply chain faces a double blow, with jobs and investments tied to India's Make in India initiative now at risk. Workers, suppliers, and local economies all feel the pressure as uncertainty grows. For Indian automakers, the closure of the Mexican market is a major setback, forcing them to rethink their export strategies and brace for potential losses in revenue and market share. The industry must now scramble to find new export destinations, adapt to changing global trade dynamics, and innovate to survive in an increasingly protectionist world. The financial fallout for India goes far beyond cars. India's exports to Mexico totaled $5.3 billion last year, spanning steel, textiles, chemicals, and more. The new tariffs make a wide range of Indian goods uncompetitive overnight, threatening years of market development. Key sectors, steel, textiles, chemicals, face severe disadvantages, with factory output and jobs at risk. Mexico had become a strategic gateway to North America for Indian exporters. The loss is not just about numbers, it's a strategic blow, wiping out investments in distribution and compliance. Companies must now pivot quickly, seeking alternative markets to absorb lost capacity. For India, the tariffs highlight the vulnerability of relying on a single market. Policymakers are now under pressure to secure new trade agreements and build a more resilient export strategy. From Mexico's perspective, the tariff hike is about protecting local industries and jobs. Officials argue that a surge of cheap Asian imports, especially steel and compact cars, has undercut domestic producers. The 50% tariff is designed to make imports less attractive, boosting demand for Mexican-made goods. The government wants to foster a self-reliant industrial base, less vulnerable to global price swings. In autos, the goal is to give domestic brands and local manufacturing a chance to grow. The message: if you want to sell in Mexico, build in Mexico and hire Mexican workers. Politically, the move is popular, signaling commitment to Mexican jobs and economic independence. The government believes short-term pain for importers is worth the long-term gain of a stronger national industry. Mexico's recent tariff decision can't be separated from the intense geopolitical pressure coming from the United States. The relationship between the two neighbors is deeply intertwined, especially when it comes to trade and economic policy. Washington's influence over Mexico's decisions has only grown in recent years as global competition heats up. Under President Trump's second term, the U.S. is increasingly wary of China using Mexico as a backdoor to the American market. The administration has made it clear that it sees Mexico as a critical front in its ongoing trade rivalry with China. Washington fears that Chinese goods could enter the U.S. via Mexico under USMCA rules, effectively bypassing U.S. tariffs and undermining American trade policy. This loophole is a major concern for U.S. officials, who are determined to keep Chinese products from flooding the U.S. market through indirect routes. As a result, the U.S. has pushed Mexico to align its trade policies more closely with Washington's interests, even threatening to impose duties on Mexican exports if Mexico doesn't comply with American demands. Mexico's recent tariff hike is partly a concession to the U.S., signaling its loyalty to the North American bloc and its willingness to cooperate with Washington on sensitive trade issues. Meanwhile, Chinese automakers like BYD and MG have been rapidly expanding their presence in Mexico, setting up factories and showrooms, which has only raised more alarms in Washington about the potential for Chinese goods to reach U.S. consumers. The new tariffs are widely seen as a strategic move to slow Chinese expansion in North America and to appease U.S. concerns about trade imbalances and economic security. For Mexico, it's a delicate balancing act, walking a tightrope between satisfying U.S. demands and protecting its own economic interests, all while navigating the growing influence of China in the region. The response from affected countries has been swift and critical. In India, industry groups and the government are pushing for diplomatic talks and considering action at the WTO. The loss of the Mexican market is a major blow to India's flagship auto industry, demanding a strong response. China has condemned the tariffs, calling them politically motivated and hinting at possible retaliation. Beijing is investigating Mexico's trade policies, a step that could lead to a formal WTO complaint. Within Mexico, domestic producers welcome the protection, but manufacturers relying on Asian components warn of higher costs. Retailers fear the tariffs will drive up prices for consumers, fueling inflation. The policy has exposed deep divisions, highlighting the trade-offs of protectionism. Mexico's tariff hike is a symbol of a global shift toward protectionism and economic nationalism. The era of open markets is giving way to rising trade barriers and strategic realignment. Asian exporters must now rethink their strategies. Some may exit Mexico, others may invest in local manufacturing to bypass tariffs. This could transform Mexico from an export destination into a manufacturing hub for Asian firms. The move deepens Mexico's integration with North America, but on new terms. The global trade landscape is fragmenting, with political alliances and supply chain security now as important as cost. Businesses and governments face growing risks and uncertainty in this new world. The walls of trade are rising, and every nation must adapt to survive.